Good evening. Welcome to Left, Right and Centre. I'm Vishnu Shom. We've got a packed program this evening. The banned group, the Jamaat-e-Islami, has said that it is engaged in talks with the centre and has expressed its willingness to contest elections in Kashmir if the ban on the Islamist organisation is lifted in the state. The statement has come at a time when the Home Minister Amit Shah is scheduled to visit Srinagar. There is now intense speculation on why Mr. Shah is travelling to Kashmir right in the middle of the elections. Will there be a big announcement, for example, of assembly elections? That's been much anticipated. Is it just going to be looking at the ground security situation? Well, that's our first discussion on the program. We'll try to unearth what exactly this is all about. But before I go across to my panel, looking at what this visit of Amit Shah to Kashmir, to Srinagar, is all about, I'm joined now by my colleague Nazir Masoodi. Nazir, is there any clarity on the agenda of the Home Minister?
Well, Vishnu, let's talk what is obvious. He reached here this evening, and then there were at least 5 delegations, 2 from Gujjar and Bakrwal community, 2 from Pahari community, 1 from community. They met with the Home Minister. Meetings are still underway. So that is obvious. But you have to see the timing of this meeting. That's also obvious. You have to see ahead of Home Minister's visit, Jamaat-e-Islami, which was the fountainhead of the separatist movement and the ideological mentor of Hizbul Mujahideen group, they announced that they are willing to contest elections if centre revokes ban, and they say they only believe in the constitutional scheme of things. They will not do any secessionist things. So Umar Abdullah also welcoming that and demanding that ban on Jamaat should be lifted so that they can contest elections rather than becoming somebody's proxy. So there are 2 important elections in 2 phases. One, in both the phases, 2 former chief ministers are contesting elections. And both the former chief ministers, Umar Abdullah contesting from North Kashmir's Baramulla constituency, Mehbooba Mufti contesting from Anantnag Rajouri constituency. These both leaders have been the face of opposition against abrogation of 370. So Umar Abdullah saying, isn't it strange that Home Minister is visiting in the middle of elections in Kashmir when BJP is not contesting any seat in the valley? And he is leaving his busy schedule. He was in Bihar, coming all the way to Srinagar on a 2-day visit, meeting obviously to delegations.
Right. So, no, Nazir, I get the point that you're saying that, it is a bit of a mystery at this stage. Very significant. So let's try and see what it's all about. I'm joined now by Amitabh Mattu, Dean and Professor of the School of International Studies at Jawaharlal Nehru University. Thanks, Dr. Mattu, very much for being with us. What is your reading on the visit of the Home Minister, the timing? Do you find it curious? Do you find it interesting? An announcement of assembly elections, possibly? What else could it be?
Vishnu, I think we're connecting after a long time. It's a great pleasure to be here. I think it's significant because it demonstrates that there are some issues in Indian politics which are above partisan politics, above electoral campaigns. The BJP is not directly contesting any seats in the valley, and yet the Home Minister has gone there. And you have one of the most significant announcements coming from the valley, a senior leader of the Jamaat-e-Islami, suggesting that not only did he vote, but also that the Jamaat would be prepared to contest elections if the ban under the UAPA were lifted. Now, Jamaat itself has been an organization which has always had 2 factions. One which has been more directed towards a social reform agenda, and then you have had the more militant political faction. The most notable leader of that faction was Ali Shah Gilani, and it had deep connections with the Hizbul Mujahideen. But there's always been this reformist element within the Jamaat which has actually talked about how violence and armed struggle or resort to any violent means undermines the long-term philosophy of the Jamaat. The Amir of the Jamaat, during the time that Gilani was a formidable leader of also, was Bhatt Sahab, and he had talked about also violence not serving any purpose. Now, Jamaat has also been seen as often encouraging voters, especially in South Kashmir, to vote for the PDP because it's historically, for reasons, it's been opposed to the National Conference, and there have been reprisals against the Jamaat often in NC governments in the past. But if the Jamaat contests election, Ali Shah Gilani himself contested elections on a Jamaat ticket, it would be a huge and significant breakthrough in terms of recognizing the importance of the ballot and recognizing the importance of electoral democracy to bring about social reform in Jammu and Kashmir.
Dr. Bhattu, how does this play out potentially politically with Omar Abdullah of the National Conference basically saying that he welcomes this particular move? You know, you raised an important point when you said that, look, in the past it was the NC which had serious problems with the Jamaat-e-Islami. There was action taken against them in the past by the National Conference. But now Omar Abdullah's statement saying, no, let's welcome them back into the fold. Let's see what they're all about. Could you tell us what the politics of this may be?
The politics is clear. The Jamaat and the PDP have traditionally had a close relationship, especially in South Kashmir. And Omar Abdullah obviously latently fears that if the Jamaat were not to contest, the cadre of the Jamaat would vote for the PDP. But if Jamaat were to come as a force of their own and contest elections, then the vote of that anti-NC vote would be divided between the Jamaat, the PDP, and other organizations. So tactically, he's trying to suggest that he would welcome. In any case, as a political leader of standing, I think any leader in Kashmir should welcome participation by even hardline factions in Indian democratically held polls. Because only, I don't think since 1987, when the polls were supposed to be rigged, has there been enthusiasm of the kind that I've been witnessed. The neighbors of mine who would never usually vote in elections, who said they went and voted in Srinagar. So there is this new faith in Indian democracy, in the ballot, and I think that has to be strengthened. People have to feel empowered. And campaigning has been done in an atmosphere which, by and large, for the most, has been free of any kind of restrictions, free of fear. People have voted without the kind of overwhelming security presence that you normally get used to. I've seen the campaigns virtually of the PDP, the NC, the Congress throughout J&K. And I must say I'm fascinated and really feeling enthusiastic that perhaps after the assembly polls, we could see the beginning of a real empowered Jammu and Kashmir, a Jammu and Kashmir government which speaks and reflects the interests of the people on the ground rather than resorts to only political sloganeering.
All right. Dr. Bhattu, you're welcome to stay on for the rest of the discussion as well, if you like. Sheila Rashid joins us. Sheshpal Vaid, former Director General of Police of Jammu and Kashmir. Ifra Jan, spokesperson of the National Conference. Firdaus Tak of the PDP and Dr. Ajay Alok of the BJP. Sheshpal Vaid, let me come to you first. In 2019, when the Jamaat-e-Islami was banned, they were banned under the anti-terror law, the unlawful activities, UAPA Prevention Act, subversive activities they were accused of. They were accused of being anti-national, being in touch with terror outfits, and posing a threat to the nation. You know, I'm just reading through some of the charges against them. Do you believe enough has changed for this to, for them to be brought back into the political fold?
Good evening, Vishnu. We all know that Hizbul Mujahideen was one of the biggest terrorist outfit in Kashmir Valley ever since 1990. Terrorism started, and the political wing of that, or you can say political ideologue of Hizbul Mujahideen, has been Jamaat since the inception of Hizbul Mujahideen.
And SP? Just right, Sheshpal. Yeah, go ahead.
Hello.
Sir. Yes, sir, go ahead.
But yes, I was yesterday listening to a representative of Jamaat-e-Islami in Kashmir. He said there have been no innocent killings. There has been a lot of improvement in situation. No innocent killing in Kashmir. No stone pelting. No firing on civilians. So I think it's a huge development in Kashmir, and in India, has it not been tested earlier? If you go to Northeast, you see how MNF in Mizoram or Nagaland, the Naga, separatist outfit was brought in the mainstream,
Sure.
and they did participate in the election. I think if Jamaat-e-Islami feels that they can change their strategy and would repose
and their
confidence.
stripes, then perhaps that might be a welcome move.
Yeah, and that is the beauty of India's democracy.
Okay,
and I
so
think
just one sec.
we
Let me
should
just quickly keep the strike rotating. Ifrajad, interesting what Omar Abdullah had to say when he said, bring them into the fold. Amitabh Mattu making an interesting point when he said that politically this is important because their support base to a large extent is with the PDP, and therefore if they were to contest separately, the national conference's chances would perhaps be better.
You see, national conference's chances are better even at this point when Jamaat is not contesting, if you look at the wave on ground. But let's wait for 4th June for the results to come out. Keeping that aside and keeping Jamaat-e-Islami aside, I am intrigued by the visit of Home Minister Amit Shah Sahab right at this point when elections are going on in the rest of the country. In Kashmir, for that matter, they've not directly contesting. They do not have a single person fighting on the BJP ticket. Yet Amit Shah ji leaves everything in New Delhi and he comes and visits Kashmir, which of course everybody finds intriguing. But once you look at this in the context of the statement that Amit Shah ji made in Udhampur recently, last week or a couple of weeks back, he said, and I would like to quote him, he said that the BJP is supporting every political party in Kashmir other than the Congress and the National Conference. So everything here has to be looked at in that context. That even though the BJP is not supporting, it has not fielded its own candidate, but it is supporting the proxy candidates against National Conference because that is exactly what their policy has been for
1 sec, let me get a response.
Now.
From that, Dr. Ajay Alok, is that what the BJP is trying to do? Support every player in the field other than the NC?
Vishnu, let's not forget that if for people like NC and PDP and Congress, if Kashmir means only Kashmir, that is the basic crux of the problem. For us, Kashmir means Kashmir, Jammu, Ladakh and Pakistan, so-called Pakistan occupied Kashmir, which is Indian Kashmir, and which we have to take it. It took us 75 years to integrate Kashmir with the rest of India. Don't forget that. This is a historic landmark where people are going out in record numbers of almost 40% in Kashmir Valley to go to the votes. What it represents? It represents those people who really want peace and development, and they are for it. No, it's not. It does not represent you. Where the elections were just manipulated in such a way that the NC.
Okay, no, 1 sec. Don't fight. Let's just listen to what he says. Yeah, go ahead. I'll come back to Ifra. Yeah.
So it's not like it's important for us that if we have integrated Kashmir, we should win the hearts of the people of the Kashmir. Fighting election or winning seat is not a criteria in a democracy. Democracy really means participation of people, and for the first time, we have seen the actual participation of people without the election being rigged by security forces or for that matter, anyone. That's what has been happening in the Kashmir. So the faith of the democracy has gone by.
No, but Dr. Ajay Alok, don't you believe that the BJP should have been contesting in the valley as well?
I think it's an internal decision of the party that we contested in 2 seats of the Jammu, 1 seat in Ladakh, and we just decided not to contest in Kashmir. Rather, it was important for us that we should look for the people of Srinagar, and we were more interested that should be a keen democratic participation, which we have witnessed, and that itself is a matter of rejoice for the whole country. I mean, look at the feat. The whole world observing Kashmir. After G20, there's an election going on, and still people of NC, they are having problems. Still people of Kashmir Congress are having problems.
Yeah, coming to the fact that this.
Please.
All right, hang on, both of you hold on. I don't want to make this a 1 versus 1. I've got other guests as well. Firdaus Tak, what do you believe the Home Minister is visiting for? Firdaus, unmute yourself.
Well, Vishnu, I don't think the visit of the Home Minister should surprise anybody of us. in Jammu and Kashmir, because the visit of Mr. Shah should not be seen as in isolation. I think the second phase of election was scheduled for 7th of May 2024, and one of the key seats, that is Anantnag, Rajouri, Poonch seat, was to go for poll in this phase. But surprisingly, Bharatiya Janata Party took a decision and convinced the election commission, forced the election commission to postpone the dates. Now see the developments which are happening post decision of the election commission to postpone the election. The Bharatiya Janata Party top leadership is flying in this constituency, campaigning for a invisible candidate they are supporting, because they are supporting a candidate from the back door, not opening their cards. Then the Home Minister is visiting. There is a statement by the Jamaat-e-Islami. Then people from different political parties, they are welcoming or not welcoming. So you have to understand that all these developments are happening in phased manner in Jammu and Kashmir, and one development is connected to the other development. The basic intention, you see, the visit of the Home Minister is now being given a name that he is visiting to review the security of Jammu and Kashmir. Mr. Shah did not visit Jammu and Kashmir when 5 soldiers were martyred in Poonch. He did not visit Poonch when 5 Air Force personnel were targeted. One of them succumbed to the injuries. He was not seen in Jammu and Kashmir. But today he is visiting Kashmir and meeting his party leaders and some delegations which are known only to the administration.
All right, so the mystery does continue. I take that point.
The basic purpose of Bharatiya Janata Party, I'm concluding it. The basic purpose of Bharatiya Janata Party is to rig the elections before the election for the people who they are supporting and for the people they want in Delhi.
How do you rig an election, or are you going to go into that same argument on the EVM? I mean, how are you going to rig an election?
I am not into argument of the EVMs. I am saying that this is rigging before the election.
But how are you going to rig it? How? What is your allegation?
And trying to have a pitch for their proxy candidates in Jammu and Kashmir, so that People's Democratic Party and particularly Ms. Mehbooba Mufti is not elected.
All right, so the National Conference and in a sense the PDP are saying are both deeply worried about his presence over there. Sheila Rashid, would you like to come in, tell us what you think this visit is about? Is it an effort at subverting the democratic process, or do you believe that this could actually result in something substantive, an announcement perhaps of assembly elections very soon, or perhaps even the Jamaat coming into the political fold? Do you believe that something positive may come out of this?
Well, maybe the Honorable Home Minister, he just loves Kashmir. It could be really as simple as that he's very concerned about Kashmir and he's had a lot of visits. But jokes apart, I would say that when you and I, we think about assembly elections and booth management, etc., the union government is thinking on a much bigger level, often at a strategic level. So I think that we should expand our horizons a little bit. While the concerns of the local parties are understandable, I think it is a little self-centric. And I would say two things. I see two things here. One, I see a certain selflessness on part of the government, be it the Union Territory government or be it the union government. That they do not even have candidates. Their ruling party doesn't even have candidates in Kashmir. And not just the Home Minister. A couple of days ago, I think a couple of weeks ago, I held a meeting here of business fraternity, which was attended by another union minister. And BJP doesn't even have candidates here. Yet Kashmir is on their agenda. So I see a selflessness. The LG administration is working in a very impartial manner. MCC is being followed to the T. And everyone, and for the first time, free and fair elections without voter suppression, without poll boycotts, without hartals are being carried out. So that is one thing that I see, a selflessness on part of the union government and the UT government. The other thing that I see is a certain thanklessness on part of the local political parties who are still trying to give that old good tea to the people in a new bottle. I see no acknowledgement whatsoever of the fact that all of us have benefited from the peace dividend that has been brought in. So while they are concerned about saving their one parliamentary seat, the Home Minister, I'm sure, thinks at a much larger strategic level. And as we know, there are developments in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir right now. And, the Home Minister could be reviewing the security situation. I'm just speculating. I don't know about it. But what I would like, one disappointing thing that I've seen is that the political parties of Kashmir, they are still trying to sell that same old poison to people in a new packaging. That has been most disappointing to me. I mean, we all benefit from the peace dividend that has come about. There are, for the first time in Kashmir, there are 365 business days, and I'm not even joking. Like on Eid, you have bakery shops open, you can get a taxi. We have near about 200 working days in the academic calendar, no loss of academic days. The world's highest railway bridge is built here, Vande Bharat trains, unprecedented railway linkages, uninterrupted 5G throughout the year, enhanced investor confidence, which is resulting in very high quality public and private infrastructure. There was a luxury car expo a couple of days back again, in Srinagar. Flats for Kashmiri Pandits are being built. And I see absolutely no acknowledgement. I mean, as Ifra said, she's absolutely right that, NC is the sort of biggest party or whatever. I mean, they are in the sort of winning situation in all the 3 seats. Yet, I see no acknowledgement of the fact that NC held a rally, Farooq Saab held a rally in downtown. PDP held rallies in so-called, insurgency infested villages and all of that, or insurgency affected areas. And I see independent candidates campaigning without security, without any kind of apprehension. I mean, when I was growing up in the 90s, it used to be said कि election है, election के time पे बाहर मत जाओ क्योंकि
Right. So what you are saying that the atmosphere has changed. There is a sense of security now. The record numbers of people who turned up to vote is what you're pointing, and he pointed out to development. Ifra, you had a point. Go ahead. Ifra, go ahead. All right. I don't think we've got that line with her. Firdaus Tak, you wanted to say something? Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was listening to the BJP spokesperson. I think what she's saying is sky is blue and water is flowing. And thanks to the Bharatiya Janata Party, we have a clean air now in Jammu and Kashmir. Let me remind her
Dal Lake is at its cleanest, if you see right now, and the administration must be getting something right, that the lakes are clean and the skies are green.
Yeah. I think we should all thank, even for the clear air, we should thank.
Absolutely, we should thank your former alliance partners.
And the people like you. I can understand it. What I'm trying to
thank you for bringing BJP to Kashmir.
Let me put my point.
Your party is the one that brought BJP to Kashmir, so thank you so much.
Let's not go into the tutu meme. Let's not go into the tutu meme. What my point is that this is clear MCC violation at the first time. Amit Shah is a Home Minister of this country. He's using the state minister. He's using the state machinery to come to Srinagar at a time when 2 parliamentary seats are to go for polls in Kashmir.
No, but I don't understand this allegation.
No. Let me complete. Let me
because you've been saying this and you're just throwing a charge. What specifically? What is Amit Shah going to do and to vitiate the process?
Amit Shah is using the state resources, the resources of the union government to come to Jammu and Kashmir for the election campaign for his proxy candidate. He is meeting his party people. He is meeting the deputations from Gujar Bakarwal, from Pahadis, from Bharatiya Janata Party, from traders to garner
what stops him from doing that?
Candidate.
What stops him from supporting or reaching out to anybody that he wants to?
No, this is completely an election campaign. He is doing an election campaign.
But what stops a politician from campaigning during the election?
He is using the state resources. He is using the state machinery.
What state?
He is using the state machinery.
Okay. Now I see the
for a particular party and
Ajay
for a particular
Alok, I get that's a specific charge. Finally, Dr. Ajay Alok, he is using the state machinery in Jammu and Kashmir to push a political agenda, is what the PDP says. Is that correct?
Well, I can only see the pessimism and I can only see the pessimistic voice coming out. Just imagine what would they have said had we been contesting. When we are not contesting, Amit Shah is going to rig the election. For whom?
We will allow you to
for their
contest.
so-called proxy candidates.
Don't contest
they are
for
so
the
much
proxies.
sure.
You
that
don't
they're
have
going
the
to lose the
courage to
election, then
contest.
they have started.
You don't have the courage to contest, and you
speaking
want
in
to enter
now
in
right now you
Kashmir
are saying
for
there is no
proxies.
tutu meme,
So the
and now you are
back
interrupting
door.
me.
One sec.
Because
We
both
will
of your
now
nature of
Firdaus,
TV
Firdaus, half a
contest.
sec.
Come
He didn't
face to
interrupt
face.
you. Firdaus, he didn't interrupt you. Go ahead. Ajay Alok.
I mean, you must have seen the nature. Like when I was speaking earlier, NC interrupted me. Now he's interrupting me, and at the same time he was telling that let's not get into tutu meme. Brother, we are not contesting elections. And as a home minister, and after this kind of a polling, a home minister has to go and determine the security situation. Because right, everyone in this country is making voice about POK, and we have to, home minister has to look after everything. It's not only elections all the time in the mind. What do you think? It's your utter desperation and frustration that you are sure that you're going to lose. So home minister is coming to rig the election when the home minister's party is not contesting the election. Had we been contesting, you would have said that results are out. BJP has won all the 3 seats in the valley. The state machinery has used every resources. This is not our culture. We are here to be with the people. We want to win hard. We are not there to win elections like you and loot the state and send the loot to any other country and live in luxury in Dubai and London, like what these 2 parties have been doing in 3 parties. The whole Jammu and Kashmir has been destroyed by 3 families. Congress, do I need to say other 2? Abdullahs and Muftis. You guys only care about yourself. You never have any empathy or sympathy for the people of Jammu and Kashmir. That's why the situation.
Ifra Jan, would you like to respond?
It has turned.
All right, we've lost that line with Ifra over
after
there.
370 abrogation. People want development. People want prosperity. People want to live peacefully. People want to have dignity in their life.
All right. Look, let's just leave it over there. Let's see what finally happens. I think the problem in discussing this before we actually know what the agenda is that, we can only end up speculating. But hopefully it will be positive for the people of Jammu and Kashmir. There is an urgent need to restore the entire democratic process, which means assembly elections. Will the Jamaat be brought back into the democratic fold? What are the concerns over there? And obviously the development of people as well. And more than anything else, safety and security.